Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Is out on assignment. He could only love us for one day, I guess. I don't know what it is, but we'll play the game with him. We have a special show for you today. We're going to get into an interview with the commissioner. Commissioner Sonja Stills is scheduled to join us of the MEAC, as you know. So welcome to episode 241 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports. From institutions large and small, from NEIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper, in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Did you do trying a new look here? You know, got to get the glasses on. We'll see how long I can make it happen. You know, give you the other side of the professor. Intellectual capacity or whatever you want to call it. A lot of news going on today, so let's jump into it. I'm not sure where you want to start. I'll do one thing. You know, I'm not sure whether Grambling wants to say they hired Coach Art Burroughs or they don't. Well, I guess they finally confirmed it after they denied it. But anyway, the world turns. What is fascinating with me, what you're quickly finding out, is you have a serious media HBCU expertise. It's almost like the underground of hip hop or underground of different black markets or whatever. It's like things happen at that level. People know, put stuff out there at least a week, sometimes 2, maybe 3 weeks in advance. And then you have what the corporate media comes in and puts it out there. So it's fascinating to watch this because we hear this stuff all the time. And oftentimes we wait to put it out until it's official. Obviously, we're hearing this stuff over there at Mississippi Valley State. Nothing official on that. So we'll leave that where it stands, understanding that there may be some changes in terms of men's, women's, and maybe even the AD, and that's men's and women's basketball. But until anything comes out official, we'll leave that right there and park it right there. When we talk about people being out, though, we can confirm in terms of HBCU game day that South Carolina State is making a change in terms of their women's basketball program as they are moving forward with that. Athletes signing CIAA tournament into effect, getting going, obviously getting excited. The SIAC, some news out there in terms of some of the other tournaments in terms of Florida Memorial winning their first tournament game, moving on to the second round. Got some big matchups with Stillman and Stillman this night. So I bring all that on, not to necessarily get y'all to break it, but I want to get your thoughts and comments on that as we get prepared to get in this interview. Obviously, you have Sedan Sanders' daughter, Dion Sanders, commits to JSU Women's. Is that Shalomi? Is that
Shalomi? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Shalomi. Man, I wanted to make sure I pronounce it. That's big news again. So, unfortunately, it looks like Jackson State just continues to get better, not only in terms of their program, but in women's basketball, like they need any more help, let's say. It is what it is. So let me start with you, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of the news of the day? Anything stand out from what I said or anything you want to add to what's out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you talk about the Grambling offensive coordinator hire of Art Burroughs. I think that stands out. I didn't know if it was subterfuge going on today or not, but you saw the reports first, basically saying nah. Then maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes later, I was like, oh yeah, we hired him. So not quite sure what was going on in regards to that.
I guess in terms of something like that, usually what that is at that late and that quick turnaround, that ink to paper hadn't been signed.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't want to release until they actually had on the paper when you're going to take all this good and bad and different. You want to make like, well, this is signed. We don't want to go through all this and change your mind because stuff gets out there, whatever. So I think it's more that. But to your point, it's fascinating. What else?
Yeah, I mean,
your thoughts.
No, I thought that was the big one today when you take a look at the potential impact that our Brown could have coming into the Southwestern Athletic Conference. You talk about his coaching acumen, of course. The situation was what it was at Baylor, and they generated a lot of feedback and comments today via social media. So I thought that was big news today in HBCU news.
Comments, good, bad, both sides?
It's good, bad, it's both sides. I think what you have is a lot of HBCU fans that kind of finger point. It's like if you want to point the finger at Grambling, you got some fingers that are coming back at you, and people will point those things out in terms of a hire here or a recruit there or whatever the case might be. But it is what it is. I think you can speak definitively to his coaching acumen. He had a tremendous run at Baylor, and you pair him with Hugh Jackson. Grambling has to get talent over there to see what they can really do with it.
It should make interesting that much more that Grambling and Jackson State game. That is not a conference game.
Right.
Makes that one just that much more to follow. This is just insane when you talk about the media coverage or whatever way you want to look at it. Drew, what's on your mind in terms of those comments I made? Anything hot out there? Your thoughts on that or just in general?
I'll stay with the Art Browse and some mixed emotions on that, as a former collegiate coach. Athletes do stupid things, but as the paid professional in the locker room, you are the one who is supposed to do the right thing and see things through. Not only for that athlete when they do student things, but for the general student body and and for the university. That's why they pay you to do the job that you do and to make those decisions. Has Art Brown made some missteps in the past? Yes, he has. He has definitely made some missteps in the past when it's come to those incidents. And we're not going to go deep into the details because it's out there for you to read. But as a girl dad, makes you kind of like, okay, if my daughter's a trainer in that locker room or involved with their program as a intern or something like that, makes you kind of wonder, does this man have not only we see he's got his players back, maybe the wrong way, but does he have everyone's back like he should as a coach? But then I really take a further step back, and we as African Americans who do not get chances and have made, we make one simple mistake and it scars us for life. Who are we to not give a person a second chance? We see so many of our young African American men and women who go to prison for something that they've done, maybe major crime, maybe a misdemeanor, but it scars them for the rest of their life. Can't get jobs, can't get any credit, can't buy a house, can't live in this neighborhood. So who are we, having faced so much of that type of discrimination? Who are we to deny a person who has, quote unquote, done his time and paid his debt an opportunity? That's the question that I bring. That's how I look at it.
You're right. I appreciate your overall point. I'm always cognizant to match, the frameworks of the life of minorities, specifically African American people, Black people, continentally, in terms of the oppression that they may have had in different instances to other individuals. I think the duality of that is not fair, but I think your overall premise I can appreciate in terms of saying, you know, if an institution wants to move forward with a hire, that's their framework, their desire. I think anybody that has rooms to feel that they have concerns about it, they have that right. You know, that's the framework of what we live in. So for me, it's always been, it is what it is. The more that you see folks in growth in this corporate platform, to me, this is more of what you have to understand that comes with it. You're going to have more folks that are going to push the envelope. Oftentimes that will be good and other times it won't. Even if it's like North Carolina A&T with their decision, the more growth in corporate things become, a lot of times we move from that cultural center. That's not always in the same framework historically what you see. So with that, I did be remiss before we go to this break, if I did not mention Kenny Burroughs, 00 for those at Texas Southern University and SWAC that followed him, Houston Oilers, has died at 73.
Oh,
One of the first individuals that I was able to touch being around Texas Southern University that was a professional at that magnitude was Kenny Burroughs. And he took me in as if we knew each other forever. Very proud man,
wow.
Very gracious, would give anything that he had and was very open to friends, family. Very proud of Texas Southern University. Very proud in terms of his relationship of playing in the NFL. Extremely proud when he made it to the Black College Football Hall of Fame and still came back, even though he was having some difficulties, oftentimes in a wheelchair. He still, whenever he could, every year, he looked forward to coming back to the Black College Hall of Fame and celebrating with his brothers. So those are the things that I will remember about Kenny Burroughs. The one funny thing is being in the radio, and I laugh even when I say it, when they were playing over there a couple of games with Chatterbox, and they would be in there eating that fish and chicken, calling the game. And you just hear what's that going on? And you cringed because you knew what was going on. But at the same time, it was powerful, it was funny, and you just, to some degree, you kind of understood it and you appreciated it. It was wild. With that, let's get into this first break. We'll be right back to give you a little more about the show. Wanted to really shout out to all the lab listeners in there. Keep the thoughts coming. I know you all have some great thoughts that we will deeply consider. And as you see, I'm going to try to talk a little bit more with you all throughout the week in terms of the show. So make sure you keep the comments coming. I appreciate it. We'll be right back after this break.
Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports Network.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate pride. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Let's get back to getting ticks instead of watching flicks. Before we can safely get out there, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your crew.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
Press the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop, AD Drew. The professors are in the building, but we have none other than the MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills. Welcome to the lab.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here.
No, it is all our pleasure.
Welcome.
It is great to have you. We'll get into some of all the different things that you've accomplished. There's so many of them that I won't just list them out, but I'll ask you to share some of them with you, including a lot of them are first in terms of African-American women having the opportunity to rise up and break the glass ceiling in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But let's just start from the beginning. Let's make this really personal, Ken. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from,
Okay.
and how you engaged in athletics.
Wow. So I am a military brat. I grew up mostly in Newport News, Virginia. I got my undergraduate degree at Old Dominion University, and of course my master's at Hampton University. And so I want to say I fell into athletics because my background is in counseling. So, and I seen enough academic counselors, so it just made sense that I would be a counselor. And so I did my undergraduate internship with Mindy Sofer, who was over the Greek life at ODU. And I had such a great time working with her. I actually received an award for a community service project that I put together under her. And so she gave me the freedom to, get out there and do what I wanted to do in order to succeed. And so when I started out at Hampton and it was time for my graduate internship, I really, really wanted to work with her again. But she had moved down to athletic academic support. And I said, what the heck? I really want to work with her, so I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. And I fell in love with working with the student athletes, doing study hall. And so that's really where I got into athletics. And so when I graduated, and I'm not going to tell my age now, but back then they really didn't. Prodigy. But they didn't have athletic academic support programs in a lot of institutions. And so I was just sending my resume out asking, can I start their athletic academic support? And I had sent one to Dr. Dennis Thomas at Hampton because he was the AD at the time. And he called me and I missed the call. I called him and he missed the call. And then I called again and he never called me again. Never called me again. So from then I was like, crap, what am I going to do? So, I actually was working with, going to school with one of my classmates, and she suggested I go and work for the Dean of Women at Hampton as their assistant. And it just so happened, this is how relationships, and it's a small world. She actually is the aunt. Her aunt actually babysat me when I was little because our military families were always in the same area. And so she hired me right off the bat. And from there, the vice president of student affairs, about a year or 2 years later, asked me if I liked what I was doing. And I was like, sure, I love it. I said, but that's not really what I want to do. I really want to do athletic academic support. And he happened to be the chair of the athletics committee for Hampton at the time when they were doing it. And he set up a interview with Dr. Thomas. So it was timing on that as well. And so I had an interview with Dr. Thomas and he hired me and I started the athletic academic support program at Hampton, but leading all into this, all in relationships because I was hanging out with, I'm a Delta and I was hanging out with them bros. and those bros were football coaches at Hampton. And so before Dr. Thomas, I got in that interview, my name was already floating out around because they were saying, well, you're doing study hall over there and you're working with the student athletes. Why won't you, come over and work with the student athletes at Hampton? And I was like, sure. So they gave me like a sample size, like about 5 students to work with. So my name was already floating around there. So when I had that interview with Dr. Thomas, he knew exactly, what I was about and what I brought to the table. So that's how I fell into athletics.
I'm really excited about the fact that you shared just how relationships are important. Obviously, you have to have the preset in terms of the academic component, whether it's a degree or what type of degree or these skill sets. But so much of it is once you check that box off is relationships. Yes. The second question before I pass it around and ask my colleagues to jump in here and ask questions, I did want to get in before we go more in terms of what type of things you do as the commissioner. I see a lot of opportunities where you really push the envelope in terms of like DIRE, the diversity, inclusion, and racial equity. The prominence that MEAC has done in terms of different panels they had about promoting women in athletics. Mm-hmm. Why are those things important for you to give back in terms of providing opportunities and visibilities for individuals that might not have it? Why did that connect with you so much?
Well, when you talk about back in the day, I was young. I was one of the youngest SWAs when I started out. And so having somebody I had Tony Morgan, who took me and another young SWA under her wing. And that was very important. It was that mentorship that really, really was important. And so when I got the opportunity, when I became the SWA at the conference office, I was able to continue because Brenda McCoy actually started off with the Women in Athletics Professional Development Workshop. And so when she retired, I took over, and just to see the networking, you want to be able to provide opportunities for these women to get the tools and the skills to improve so they can rise up in athletic administration. And so one thing, and it was good that Dr. Thomas kind of, I don't know, intentionally or unintentionally set a little foundation, because when he started out as the commissioner, it was him, one male, and it was all females in athletic administration in his office. So it was me as the director of compliance, the director of media relations, and the director of championships, and him. And so sometimes I'm like, we're Dennis's angels, because he set that foundation of, it was important to put women in a place, or they have their seat at the table, and showing that, hey, we have the capabilities, we have the skill set to stand amongst our male colleagues. And so it was very important, and throughout my career, of being intentional about bringing women into the conference office and as interns, and being able to help them get to where they are, and being very intentional when I became the commissioner. And as I had that opportunity in the hiring process to pull women that I know who are stars, but just need the opportunity. And so that's where I brought in like a Karen Carty as the assistant commissioner for strategic communication. I changed all the names of the titles, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know most of them. I changed it too, so if I bear with me. But there was another young lady who was a Hispanic female, Cecily Tafoya, who actually went to Bethune-Cookman, played softball. She's extremely talented with social content and graphics, and so I wanted her to come back because she left. Well, she's doing her second tour because the American Cancer Society stole her. And then I got her back. And so I really wanted to bring her back. And I wanted her to grow from a director, and now she's the assistant commissioner of external affairs. So seeing that talent and rewarding. So one of the things that, and then most of all, one of my interns that I worked with when I first got here in 2005, I absolutely wanted to work with her again. Extremely talented, and she was my compliance intern. And when she came in, you wouldn't know there was a difference between if I was there or I wasn't, because she was just that good. And so I said, if I became the commissioner, I want you to come back. And she did. And so that's the type of thing, is putting people into place, wanting them to get them in the opportunity of being around the presidents and chancellors. So when the opportunities come, they see them, how they interact, and be able to give them those opportunities to have their names that pops up if something comes up. So that's very, very important, to be able to pull people up, because some women, they'll talk about it and whatnot, but then when there's the opportunity, it's kind of like, where is that female, that next person?
Where's the action?
Even though I might be the first, but I should not be the last.
Mm-hmm. Well said. And that is certainly commendable. Let me let Charles jump in and ask a follow-up question before we take our first break. We'll come back on the top and bring Drew into the conversation as well.
Sure thing. Commissioner Stills, welcome back in again. Let me ask this question, and Dr. Cavil uses this term, conference churning. And quite honestly, a lot of that conference churning is happening within the geographic region of the MEAC. So I wanted to ask this question in light of what's going on geopolitically. Is there a way to protect the MEAC's borders, or even expand the MEAC borders?
So one of the things we have, in all of my tenure at the MEAC, the most engaged presidents and chancellors are council, and they're committed to the sustainability of the conference, and that's tremendous. When you have all 8 publicly say the Elite 8 ain't going nowhere, and so that's letting everybody know we are committed to the sustainability and where the conference is going to go in the future. And so, when you talk about membership expansion, that's always been a part of our strategic and long range plan. In our 51 years, having realignment is nothing new to us. We had Florida A&M come back in and out. You had Central come in and out. So, that's nothing that's unusual for us. And so we will still survive as we move forward. And as long as we have the commitment of all 8, we'll be fine. Now, mind you, with those conferences who, are going to want to, come after our institutions, we as a conference have to make sure that we are continually to work towards keeping our members. So you got to keep them happy and find ways that is going to keep them here. So finding more ways that get them on national platforms. And that's part of my vision, is to get us out there, particularly when we're talking about our Olympic sports. We want to find avenues to get them out there on a national platform. It's easy, to get football out there, basketball. And we have a great long relationship with ESPN. But what can we do to accent that with our Olympic sports as well? So those things in revenue generation, finding ways to take those items that, find money that's going to take those line items out of their budget, where they can spend it on ways that they can improve their facilities or more staffing. That's what I'm supposed to do as a commissioner in order to keep our Elite 8 together. And then, looking for other institutions who are going to match our mission and match us athletically, but most importantly, academically. We don't want to make a move so quick. We got to be strategic about how we do it. We're at 6 football institutions. We know that. And so we know that, if somebody leaves, oh my God, so you always want to look, but at the same time, you have to be methodical about who you bring in, because you don't want somebody to come in and then leave. Yeah. So that's very important. So I hope that answered your question.
Oh, definitely. Thank you.
Okay.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, but we have AD, Professor Drew, in instead. And we'll be right back after this break as we are interviewing the Commissioner of the MEAC, Sonja Stills. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Professor Bishop, Professor Drew, and the MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills. If you could hear the outtakes, you would understand that she does not bite her tongue, but you already know that. But let's get back in it. Professor Drew, what's your follow-up question?
All right, Dr. Stills. Now, I'm gonna stick this in as a two-parter, even though they really aren't related, these two questions. But question number one, as a former coach, I know the toughest transition was always from chair 2 to chair 1 whenever you took over a team. So as commissioner, since commissioner, you were in chair 2, now you're in chair 1. What has been the biggest transition, biggest thing that you've noticed the difference? I thought it was going to be like this, but now that I'm sitting over here, I have to approach it a little different. As coaches, we always had these great game plans, and then when we get in that seat, it was like, oh, now I understand why he was doing it this way. So what has been that biggest that biggest shift from chair 2 to chair 1 for you as a commissioner? That's question one.
Actually, it's funny because I actually thought about that earlier today, because, when you're number 2, and I prided myself on being the go-to person, which you should, but then you shouldn't, because everything falls on you. And so when I transition, it's kind of like I can't put my hands in things. And with new staff, you have to get into it, but not, because it's their job to execute. And so, as much as I want to sit in and I was like, well, I'll just do the memo. And one time I did the memo and I sent it out and they were like, I'm supposed to do that. And actually I already had it prepared, ready to send, but I just got to get out of the process of taking a step back and be at the higher level, seeing the bigger picture. And then, sharing my vision and having it executed. So I understand when, I always tell them, now I know why Dr. Thomas was cranky. I understand. And sometimes, you hear yourself, I'm like, dang, I sound like my mama. I'm just fussing. They're like, dang, you cannot be fussing. I'm like, shoot, you know, when I'm really mad, that's when I can't even look at you. But if I'm fussing, I'm okay. So, but that transition of taking a step back and letting people do and execute. And one of the things I wanted to do with the staff was, look, I want you to, I hired you because you can stand on your own 2 feet. And so I give you the confidence to say, hey, you go ahead and do it. If you make a mistake, we all make mistakes, and that's fine. And so we'll try not to make the same mistakes, because this is my first time in the commissioner's chair. I'm going to make mistakes too, as well. So that little thing of giving people, empowering people to go forward and do it. Make a decision, and then, hey, let me know what you decide, but not saying I got to take you from A, B, C, D. Look, bottom line, if somebody was trying to tell me the whole story, give me a dissertation, and all I needed was yes or no. And I understand, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, just what do you need? Just tell me what you need, so I can assist you. So it's been a learning process. It's definitely been a learning process.
And speaking of that learning process, you know, when I look at our 5 HBCU conferences, MEAC, SWAC, SIAC, CIAA, and the GCAC, I see 3 African-American women leading those conferences, with you being the newest of those 3 conferences. We got Jackie McWilliams of the CIAA, Kiki Baker Barnes in the GCAC. So my question to you is, number one, what does that mean to you that of our 5 HBCU conferences, 3 of them are led by women, and then African-American women, let me say that again, African-American women are leading all these athletes, number one. And then number 2, have you leaned on them for any advice or conversations along the way?
Look, I mean, it's so humbling to be, you know, included with these outstanding, strong women. You know, it's Black girl magic happening at this point. So, you know, I'm honored. And one thing that I haven't talked to Kiki, but Jackie has been like my cheerleader. You know, when I secretly said, hey, I'm just gonna put my hat in the ring, and I reached out to her to tell her that, and she's like, I'm so excited. I was hoping you would do it, and whatever you need, I'm here to support you. That was tremendous, because, you know, and some people are also so secretive about what their plans are, that they don't allow people to be your cheerleader, so that they can, when they get their ear to somebody who's important, who's going to be a part of that hiring process, you have somebody already cheering for you before you even step in the room. And so Jackie has been that for me. She has checked on me. She's like, I know this is different. It's a transition, and give me these little tidbits of how to keep my mind right. You know, you go home, and what my mama said, I just got to get my mind right. I got to rest my nerves. You know, I get my nerves. So, you know, and she's giving me that energy to say, hey, you know, you have all these plans, and you do not have to get it all done in 30 days, you know, and that was very important, because they always say, you know, what's your 60-day, 90-day plan? But she said, you have time, you know, pick 1 or 2 things that you accomplish in your first year, and then keep it moving, because it's a lot of pressure. And then people, because you're the first, and you're the newest thing, everybody's pulling at you. You know, look, if another person called me and talk about they want to sell me something, look, I need somebody to call me and tell me they want to give me some money. So, you know, it's something a little different, you know what I'm saying? So she has been awesome. And then these, you know, other women who have reached out to me, who have been first, like Carla Williams, who am I thinking of? Jonna Chude. The stuff, it's just the empowerment of these women who are saying, I'm here to support you. You will be fine. You can do it. And we're here to help. And so that's extremely important.
Thank you.
That's very important, because a lot of ways, I don't know if people understand when you're in that executive level seat, how in terms of your internal operation, a lot of ways can be lonely. And I don't mean lonely in terms of you don't have folks, but in terms of people that you can really confide in or truly have relationships in, where you can bounce high level discussions off of without worrying about it, quote unquote, leaking to the media. Not that we don't want it sometimes, but
and sometimes we want it to, but
well, we've seen a lot of that over the last 30 days.
Exactly. Good point. Touché. With that being said, let me ask a couple of follow-up questions, if you would. And I want to get back to one of the questions that Charles asked in terms of expansion conference churning, but I wanted to ask it from a more theoretical approach. Because we hear about ADs and schools seeking this and other ones seeking that, and we tend to get the outside. I've been blessed and done some consulting work, so I get a little more on the inside. But what you can share in terms of what that looks like. What is the operation? When do you hire a consulting company? Why would you hire a consulting company? How do things come in? Is it an email? Is it a secondary person? Is it a direct call? What does it look like when you're in that mode where you're working to either bring somebody in or hold somebody in, especially when it's talking about the conception of a Division II program moving up? How challenging is that in terms of seeking and providing a framework? In a lot of ways, is it a sell job, or are you just waiting for somebody to say, hey, we're interested?
No, you at this point, you really have to be active. You always have to be actively looking. You always, because you can't be caught off guard. If you're caught off guard, then you're like, oh my God, what's going on? So we actually, because the presidents and chancellors are so engaged, they put together their own membership committee within the council. And we already have a legislative membership committee that's made up of our athletic directors, senior woman administrator, faculty rep, and then one president serves on that committee. But because they're so committed, they put this together. Now we have engaged Barnes and Thornburg law firm to assist us with membership expansion. So to do the research, for us, to look and see, do they line up mission, the missions align, athletically do align, where they fit within the footprint. And will, is this going to work? And so they'll give and they'll look and they'll make preliminary phone calls to see where everybody is at athletically in their vision. So when you're talking about looking at, now that's a piece of it. Now there's me calling athletic directors, some of the presidents and myself will call the president of a particular institution just to see where they are as far as their athletic vision, and I think that personal touch is better than when you have a third party coming in. So if we have a third party that does the research, but it's up to us to be able to reach out to, and that shows the commitment, that we really want you to be that personal touch, that you want you to be a part of the conference. Now, when you're talking about a Division II institution, it's so easy, when I see on the blogs or on social media, like, oh, you should pick up Bowie or Virginia State. And, it's kind of like, you don't know the background that, okay, we're going to apply. That's going to be 1.6 million. Okay.
Say that number again.
Yeah.
Say that number.
1.6 million.
Okay, I wanted everybody to hear that.
Okay. So say they got
and
that
is that $1.6 million a lot of people want to know? Is that something like you basically have to write that check?
Write that check.
Or do you pay it over a couple of years?
From my understanding, you pay that 1 point check before you start the process. From
Good to know.
That's the down payment.
So you right now, and and they think that, okay, I got that. So I've talked to, you know, a couple of ADs and trying to say, okay, where are you at? They're like, yeah, we want to be Division I. All right, great. I said, let me tell you something now. I said, our presidents are very, very cognizant of, if we look at a Division II, they have to be sustainable as a Division I institution. So even though you pay that 1.6, are you going to be able to get the facilities up to par, the staffing, the scholarships, the level? And Division II, they sports sponsorship, I think is what, 10 sports.
Yeah.
We're at 14. So you got to add sports to become Division I. So have you thoroughly vetted out what it would take to be Division I? That's very important. So, you know, we had Winston-Salem that was coming into the conference that went back because of the financial. And then, of course, we had Savannah State that had to go back to Division II because of the finances. So it's very important that they go into it with research, that properly vetted out everything, and really sincerely have everybody backing them of becoming a Division I institution, because we want them to be there for the long haul, not because we feel like we're desperate. No, we're not desperate. And it takes time. This is nothing that happens overnight. I think people think it's going to happen overnight. And I think somebody had called me and said, I ain't going to tell you the school. The alumni was from the school. He said, I want you to, you need to bring in Barney's College. And I'm like, yeah, they're Division II. I said, he's like, yeah. I said, but you know, it's a financial impact that it has. And he said, well, I thought y'all needed institutions. I said, sir, I think this is a conversation you need to have with the institution to make sure that they are ready to get. I said, no, we'll consider them. I said, but no, you do your research, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll do it. We're gonna take a quick break, but I wanted to give you a chance to plug the MEAC tournament before we come back. So let's take this quick break, bring you back to talk a little bit about the MEAC tournament and where people get tickets, how they may be able to watch it if they can't get there, those kind of things. So Drew, take us out as we get into the fourth quarter, and we'll come back and close out this interview.
Oh, okay.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
You see, Head & Shoulders has scalp shield technology, protects against flakes, even between washes. It's never not working.
Kind of like us. Number 15?
Never not working.
I don't like this one.
Me neither.
Let's get out of here.
Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield, never not working.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate pride. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab as we're closing out on our interview with MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills, providing you some insight, places, information you can't get anywhere else. But as we close out, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the MEAC basketball tournament. Man, it's been large and exciting, a lot of different places. For those that haven't been in that building, it's electrifying as things go down there. It's perfect size. People fill it up. But for those that may not be aware, what's the time, dates, how can they get information, if they can get their tickets, if they can't, how do they view it and watch it?
Absolutely.
Let us know.
Absolutely. You know, we're excited because, you know, this is the first time we brought fans back since the pandemic. And, you know, we were the last one to stop. Right? So
the very last.
So we are definitely ready. So March 9th, we're going to kick it off in Norfolk, Virginia at the Scope Arena. And you can get tickets through Ticketmaster. It's electronic tickets this year. I don't know how I feel about that as we going through the process. I kind of like the old paper tickets. So I'm old school, but you know, we're going to work through it. You know, it's that tech, you know, old people with tech. That's me. So
you just cut a scalp out some money. That's all it was.
But it's going to be great. We'll have our Hall of Fame brunch on Thursday morning. And then, you know, we have the celebration, old celebrity party that we do on Friday night. And actually it's going to be presented by the MEAC Nation Association. And on Saturday, the championship party. And then we have a comedy
Nation Association.
The MEAC Nation, this has been a vision of mine to bring current members, former member institutions, alumni, fans, students, supporters together in a home type event, not event, but just a network. And, you know, when we go to like a Celebration Bowl, the MEAC Nation is there supporting MEAC team. And so because, you know, went to Celebration Bowl and A&T was there strong and they were supporting MEAC. And so we want to have a place for those individuals who still want to be around the HBCU culture. Same thing with Hampton. Hampton and boosters and stopped coming to the MEAC tournament. And they are always there supporting. So why not bring them in together? Because they're still a part of the MEAC family. And so that's something that will definitely be coming up soon where people can join the organization and let's help support Party with a Purpose, you know, do some networking and some community initiatives surrounding the MEAC and its institutions.
As a rattler, am I invited? I said, as a rattler, am I invited?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I actually have rattlers on the committee. Angela Suggs, great rattler. So yes, we're asking anybody, A&T, Hampton, the Rattlers, Winston-Salem, Savannah, if you were ever in the MEAC, come on.
You go. Bethune-Cookman, that's right. All of them. I look at it. And any other SWAC, MEAC, CIAA, SIAC, GCAC, if you in that area, you want to be connected, it's the place to be. I love it. Somebody put out there before I let you go that I like what they said about this, even though, you know, as a SWAC person, sometimes this hit you back and you have to take it back a little bit. They say, yeah, MEAC strong enough to come back and win the Celebration Bowl.
You got that right. Look, let me tell you something. We won 5 of the 6. What does that tell you?
That's 83%. That's what that tells me.
Nobody
was counting. Those are folks that come in there looking about this, covering the SWAC. We cover it all, but we come in there talking about, all right, SWAC, y'all gonna do something. We like, nope.
I'm surprised. I was surprised.
I have to respectfully be humble right now. I would respectfully be humble.
That's a resident Jackson State guy.
Oh, my bad. Some of my best friends go to Jackson State, so hey, there's that. But it's all love. It's all this is great for HBCU.
Yes, it is.
So that's the most important thing.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Track championships are this weekend also, Madam Commissioner. Indoor track.
We just finished indoor track yesterday. Okay. Actually, Norfolk State.
Oh, I like how she said that.
Napa State men won, and Howard State's women won. Outstanding. Right. It was a great championship in our new facility, the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. A bank track is outstanding facility for our championship. So look forward to other spring championships in the local area of Hampton Roads coming up.
No doubt about it. We'll look forward to you as we get on with the spring meetings. If you need to come on, we'll come in there. Certainly by the fall. We love to bring you back because that may give you a chance to talk about our fans and scheduling, so they learn a little more about the scheduling. So we'll hold you to that since you're out here teaching, putting on your professor hat. Anytime you need to do that and you want to teach the masses, come on into the lab. That's what we do. We hold class. We heard the lab.
I love it. Love it. Anytime. I'd love to come back.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson, Charles Bishop. Closing up with our interview with the MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills. We'll be right back after this last break and we'll close out the show, give you a little overtime. Thank you.
The top HBCU programs in the nation come to Montgomery, Alabama's Riverwalk Stadium this May 11th through 14th for the Black College World Series. The best Black college baseball teams in the NCAA Division II and the NAIA will battle for Black baseball's ultimate prize. Games will be streamed live at www.mybcsn.net. Tickets are available now online at www.blackcollegechampionships.com.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless. Pick something we all like.
Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Let's
compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Professor Bishop and Professor Drew. Hope you enjoyed that interview with the MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills. We're in our overtime a little bit. We're going to close out just with some updates so you can get prepared for your weekend. Actually, we have some tournament games going on right now. So, Drew, tell us a little bit about what you have on your calendar to keep an eye on for the weekend.
We'll start off with the games that have already gone final today. In the CIAA, and let's see, Livingstone defeated Johnson C. Smith by a bucket that is 50 to 48. Virginia State defeated Bowie. So those games have gone final in the CIAA. In NAIA, we have Florida Memorial at men and women advanced. They will be playing tomorrow. That is in the Sun Conference. In the Southern States Conference, Stillman men will advance to play tomorrow. Stillman women lost for the third time to William and Carey. They lost by 10 points today. Yeah. Talladega and Talladega's women are playing as we speak right now, and the men will follow them later on this evening. SIAC is finishing up their final regular season games tonight, and their tournament will begin on this Monday, along with the Red River Athletic Conference, whose tournament will begin next week.
Gulf Coast Athletic Conference is in Arkansas.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Gulf Coast Athletic Conference. Thank you. Gulf Coast Athletic is in Arkansas, and they begin tomorrow also.
CIAA in Baltimore is coming down the stretch. It's getting good.
And a great game from ESPN. I've been watching as many as I could on ESPN Plus. So, great job by Commissioner McWilliams getting those games on ESPN Plus this year. Makes it easy to find.
Good point. And SIC will be on ESPN next week as well, so it'll be easy to keep your eyes on that. Charles, moving up to the major division, as we like to call it around here, what are some of the games that you have your eyes on, men and or women, What are you looking at? MEAC swag, those teams in the OVC or Big South, which direction you want to go?
I'm going to be looking at the SWAC this weekend, and right here in Houston, you have Alcorn paying a visit to Prairie View Saturday, and then Texas Southern on Monday. So that's going to be huge. Alcorn, one of the hotter teams. They won 2 in a row, taking on Prairie View, which I think is one of the hotter teams in the SWAC. They won 4 in a row, and then taking on conference leading Texas Southern on Monday. On the women's side of the ball, Jackson State, they put their undefeated record on the line this weekend up against Texas Southern Saturday night, which has been one of the hotter teams of late, and an always tough to play Prairie View a basketball team on a Monday night. Dr. Cavil, you know, all the fun happens on Monday night, so that'll be something to keep an eye on.
That's will be the Monday night road wins.
Yeah, you're right. We saw some of that play out last week in the MEAC in terms of that Monday night. I'm going to stick right there in the MEAC, particularly on the men's side. North Carolina Central at Howard, 14-12 versus 14-11. And then you have South Carolina State and Norfolk State. When you talk about the hottest team, Texas Southern on the women's side against Jackson State, hottest team on the men's side in terms of the MEAC is South Carolina State and Norfolk State. It's going to be interesting. Those teams are at the top of the standing with Norfolk State at 9-2. North Carolina Central is 7-3. South Carolina State is 7-4. And Howard is 7-4. Those are games I keep my eyes on, and then it flips over on Monday, and it might just get better. With that, it's time for us to close. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. All for our lab listeners, I see you pointed it out. You enjoyed the interview. We appreciate you bringing it. That's what we try to give to you, and we'll continue doing it. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Again, we thank you for listening to Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday right here at 6 o'clock. That is Central Standard Time. And again, I hope you enjoyed the interview with the MEAC Commissioner Sonja Stills. She has me sold. I thought I was going to be coming down in the MEAC on that Friday. I might just have to make sure I make it. That sounds good in terms of a couple of those events that I need to get into and make sure I can mix around. See what they're taking in, you know, a swag guy there. We'll see. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, DrKenyattaCavil. That's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. DrKenyattaCavil. They do call me the Dean of HBCU Sports. You know, I like it all. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1, that is on Twitter. Facebook and Instagram is also Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you like, subscribe. Check us out. Dream big and continue to move forward. Make sure you download my JBN, my BCSN. Check out Brian and Drew on as they give you sports rap. And then make sure you check out Professor Bishop as he continues the pregame show. They dropping those little dimes here and there. I mean, how many interviews y'all gonna sneak out there with Coach Prime in the ranch, man? That's like every time I get in there, it's an all play, man.
It was an hour and a half worth of content, man. Strategic.
You got enough content to take us to graduation.
Too much, man. What'd you say?
I said he got enough content to take us up to May graduation right now. hey, Doc.
Make sure he takes it all the way there too.
Exactly.
Hey, got a new show coming out, Doc.
Soon. Charles.
Of course.
Drew.
Lecture.
Dismiss.
We holla.